Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tim Meyer, here for the Romeo Sports Recap, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Romeo Sports Recap. I'm Tim Meyer, and today I'm here with varsity dance coach Ashley Kowal. And Ashley, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us how this year's varsity dance team is doing so far.
So far, so good. Our season is pretty long, so we're kind of just really getting into things. We started over the summer with camp, where they learn the routines that they do for the football games. We also learned 2 competition routines, so a jazz routine and a pom routine over the summer. We're almost through football season at this point. So as we're wrapping that up, we're also kind of working on some of those competition routines because that's coming up at the beginning of November. So it's coming together, moving along.
Is it where you want it to be right now, or is there still some things to work on?
Nope, there's still a lot to work on. It's fun to see the growth, I think, like at this point. And when you look at when the girls like first learn the dances to like the September, October, performing of those routines till then all the way at what they look like in February, there's a huge difference. So yeah, there's still a lot to work on right now. A lot of like dynamics that we're still kind of like working through. Everyone's still kind of, there's a couple new people on the team, but for the most part, a lot of the girls are returners. So just even working through, another year with the same people, sometimes can be tricky. So we're definitely not where we.
Is this definitely something that happens every year?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this team ahead of last year's team or about equal?
I would say every year we're like a little bit ahead. I think the more years that we have in coaching, the more we kind of work out some of those kinks and we really get like the schedule kind of ironed out. So every year we're kind of making improvements to what we're doing to set the girls up for success faster. And the more that they have experienced the full like game day season and then into the competition and into nationals, the more experience they have under their belts, the faster they're, making the adjustments, and we're getting to that like end goal a little bit quicker. So I feel like the talent level is very similar to what we had last year, but as far as like where we're at, I would say we're like maybe a smidge ahead, but that's always the goal.
Yeah. And when you say make adjustment, what are you talking about? Make adjustments? What kind of adjustments?
For what do you mean?
Well, you try to make adjustments and maybe
like to coach like the season. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of like behind the scenes things. There's a lot of like, what are we planning to do? How can we be most efficient with our practices? What can we check off early? What can we spend more or less time on? How can we make practices more productive? So making those kinds of adjustments and taking a look at like, okay, this is what we did last year. This is what worked really well. We want to do this again. This is what maybe didn't work so well, or we wish that we were further ahead with this at this point. So just kind of looking at everything as a whole and like how efficient and productive we are throughout the course of the season, and then making adjustments based on what did go well and what we wanted to go better.
Yeah. Like, again, like what are you teaching the kids? You teaching different moves or?
Yes and no. I feel like a lot of them already come with like the foundation of dance, right? It's unfortunately not one of those things that you can just start doing really late in life.
I couldn't be on the team.
You could try really, really hard, but I just don't know that you would have the same skill set. So it's really something that if you start early and you're building those skills early. So we're not necessarily teaching them the foundational skills. We're more teaching them like very like niche type things, like really executing palm motions correctly, and teaching them to look.
I didn't know there was an incorrect way.
There's lots of incorrect ways actually. So really teaching them to look the same. The goal is for however many girls on the team to look like one. So you want everything to be exactly the same. So it's not so much that we're teaching them how to dance as we're teaching them how to take the skills that they already have and make them look uniform across everybody.
So kind of take us through a typical week. What is it, if I'm a dancer, what is my typical week going to be?
Yeah, so as far as dance team goes, we're practicing right now 3 days a week. So we practice Tuesday nights.
And how long do you practice?
2 hours.
Okay.
2 hours on Tuesday, about 2 hours right after school on Thursday, and then we practice Sunday mornings. And our schedule is largely based on availability of space. We kind of get the last pick of what's kind of left just because we can go wherever, and we don't need the basketball nets, or we don't need to be able to, set the volleyball net up in the gym or that kind of thing. So we go kind of where there's space, and that's kind of dictates our practice schedule as well. But like right now we spend Tuesdays working on our competition routines, and then our Thursday practices we typically devote to the game day routine if there happens to be a game that week. If not, then it's typically a competition practice. And then Sunday mornings right now, the girls are doing an hour of technique. So they're working on some of those skills. And
like standing on one foot and moving?
Yeah, kind of. And also is like a little bit of like more of a workout type portion of the practice. And then the second half, we're for sure working on those competition routines. So right now we're kind of split like what our time is looking like and what each practice is looking like. But once football is over, every day is devoted to competition routines, and we try to divide. One day we might do jazz, one day we might do pom, one day we might split half and half and do each. Really just trying to keep it fun for the girls. It's hard to work on the same.
Sounds like exhausting.
It's hard to work on the same thing for so long. So it's definitely a challenge to try to keep it fun and interesting and not really get bogged down just over and over and over again with the same thing.
Now, do you guys watch film of yourselves? Or video, or whatever they call it.
Yeah. We do record at the end of practice. And it's mostly for the purpose of the girls being able to go back and practice like in the in between days to work on the things that we corrected, or, to kind of self-reflect like, oh, I like watch the video, I might be doing this different than everybody else, or I really stand out here in a negative way. So we don't necessarily sit down and watch it together as a team, but the girls do have a video at the end of practice that they can use for reference. Like if for whatever reason they weren't at a practice, then they can kind of go back and say like, okay, this is what I missed today, to catch up.
Well, have you ever seen your routines that you do on Friday nights?
I mean, we have videos of those too. So
okay, yeah, and actually, the last home game that Romeo played, and I was watching you guys. It looked to me, now, if I'm the audience and you fooled me, that's one thing. But it looked like the girls are really together, like I told them, really, they did look like one.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
And that's the idea of it all, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, but you got to keep practicing that, right? You can't just say, hey, we got it.
Yeah, no, it's not. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. You got to, lots of practicing, lots of fine tuning.
Where do you think this team's going to go this year? What are you predicting for them?
I don't know. It's so hard to say. So this year we're actually competing in a different division. Our team is a little bit smaller than we've been, I think, the last 2 years. So it changes the pool of schools that you're competing against. So there's a small, medium, and a large category team. That way it just kind of helps things be more fair, because if you were only able to have 7 girls on your dance team, it's not going to look the same as if you had 20 girls on your dance team, right? So that's how they can keep it a little bit more fair and make sure that they're really comparing the same types of routines. So we previously have been in the large varsity category, so you have, I think it's 15 or more girls on the team, so there's a lot, visually there's a lot. Right now we're right in that medium category, so we're competing against some schools that we haven't necessarily competed against before or in a year or two. So it's really hard to say, and I feel like every year even teams like locally everyone's getting more competitive. So you just never really know until you kind of get to that first one, and then you've seen everyone's routines, and then you kind of know what you're up against. So at that point you can say like, okay, this is our baseline, this is what everyone else kind of looked like right out the gate, so this is what we're working towards. And I think the girls, their goal for this year is not necessarily like place driven. I mean, when we get to nationals, obviously we will set this is, how we would love to finish. But right now I think it's more about like the experience and working together, and more like the connection that they have as a team, and less about how they finish, because really at the end of the day, you're not going to remember what place you got. In 20 years, you're going to remember like, oh, I had a really great relationship with the girls and, this was a really great experience for me. So it's definitely more like team driven goals. So I don't really know, but I am excited to kind of see how everything unfolds.
Romeo dance, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have quite a feeder of talent to you right from the girls being, in junior high school?
Yeah, we're really lucky that we have that middle school program, and it does expose them really early to what dance team is like, because like the girls are, I guess they went before me, but like they will say, it's a little bit different than studio or other types of dance. So getting them exposed kind of early and just used to the structure and, how the whole season runs is super awesome. And then they're also working on those skills before they even get to us. So then we're not necessarily teaching them the dance team type,
the basic
dance
stuff,
skills, right? That they learned it, 3-4 years ago at this point. So yeah, it's really awesome to have.
What do you like about this year's team?
They have a lot of heart. I think, like I said before, every year they get it a little bit more, and they know a little bit more what it takes to do well and to be successful as a team. And I would say this year, like, they have the most heart. There's girls that literally would just like lay down for this team. They like eat, sleep, and breathe it, which is so awesome. And it's been really cool to kind of see it evolve in that way, where like the more and more they like want to be super successful.
Quite a dedication.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of noise out there. One of the reasons we do the show anyway, there's a lot of noise out there that generation is lost and they don't know where they're going and all that stuff. But when you say things like that, it sounds like to me there's a direction, there's a drive, and they're goal oriented.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably the opposite. It just doesn't look the same as what it looked like 10, 15, 20 years ago. They
keep going on. I graduated
30. I don't know. I think they do know where they're going. It just looks different for them. It's not they're not on the same like typical, trajectory that.
I just wanted to get a car. That's all. I get a job and get a car. It was.
I think they want those things too.
But they want more.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we didn't have, the internet and the social media that
it's hard.
We used to remember everybody's phone number.
Phone numbers, right?
Yeah, but that does. Now I couldn't. I only remember a couple.
Yeah, and you couldn't call if someone was using the phone. You couldn't also.
If my life depended on it,
yeah.
Ashley, I appreciate you stopping by and talking a little bit about the Romeo Varsity dance team. We wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you.
And I'll actually be watching at least one of your performances coming up here. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Okay. We'll be back with some of those girls from the Romeo Varsity dance team right after this.
Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors.
This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. Now back to the show. Welcome back to the Romeo Sports Recap Show. I'm here with dance team members Sophia Zarnick and Kendall Shaw. And Kendall, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. You're here on the dance team and you are
Yep, I'm a senior this year. So I've been on the dance team since my freshman year. Me and Sophia both made it our freshman year. And I've kind of stuck with this sport. My older sister was in it, so that's how my mom kind of put me in it at first. So yeah, I've just stuck with it all 4 years and I've loved it.
How about you, Sophia?
Well, I have been a part of the Romeo dance program since 6th grade. I was on the middle school team, and then I decided to try out for the high school team, and I made varsity my freshman year, so this will be my fourth and final year on varsity. I've absolutely loved being on the team. It's honestly been such a dream, and it's felt so surreal. I love it.
So it's a dream, but what makes it a dream? What makes it so fun for you? What is kind of the things that you like about being on the team?
So obviously the main thing that I love is just our bond. Our season is very long. We're with each other from May to February, but that honestly just makes our team love each other so much, and we get to have such amazing memories together. We get to go to Florida to compete in February, and we just make great memories there. I also just love being a part of our community. Dance team does a lot within Romeo. We dance at football games. We do a lot of fundraisers. We are at a bunch of other sporting and school events, and
you're in the parade, aren't you? Do you guys
yes,
go to the
and
parade?
parade, yes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot to do with Peach Fest and Homecoming Week. So all that stuff mixed together just makes it so much fun. And being able to do it with girls that I go to school with too also just makes it a blast.
Makes it a blast. Okay. Yeah. And Kendall, how about you? Probably the same stuff?
Yeah, probably the same stuff. Obviously, the team makes it all worthwhile, to be honest. So, yeah, I'd say
I mean, okay, dancing itself. When did you know you kind of had talent in that area?
Oh, wow. So my mom put me into dance when I was around 2, but I guess once I really started loving it was probably...
My mom didn't do that for me.
Yeah, but I guess when I really started loving it was probably in middle school. That's when my mom put me in a company. So that's when I probably started to get more into it. And I've just loved it ever since. It's given me a way to express myself in ways that I really can't. So, yeah.
So you guys, I've seen your routines and stuff. Can you do other dances? What, the foxtrot, the waltz, anything like that? Can you dance normal or couple dances and things like that?
Well, actually, I found out that I'm not a good freestyle dancer. I am not able to go on the floor at a wedding and bust it down. The dance team is a very different type of dance than a lot of other things.
Are you getting married?
Hopefully. I hope. I really got to practice for that. I do. I got a long ways to go.
All right.
But dance team is a very different type of dance compared to like street dance and even studio dance. They all have very different dynamics. And so I feel like I have learned that my strongest suit is dance team, which is very just hard hitting things when it comes to use pom-poms, very sharp movements. But then we also compete with jazz, which is more letting your body go and just really telling a story.
So is that what's going to happen at your wedding? You're going to come out
with pom-poms.
With maybe. Pom-poms and okay. and how about you, Kendall? Any ballroom dancing ability here?
No, not really, but
It's easy. Waltz is easy. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I bet if we really put our minds to it.
Yeah, I bet we could. I bet we could try.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was at a studio for a little bit, so I've kind of learned the other aspects of it as contemporary and more hip hop and more other styles that dance team doesn't allow me to do. So I guess I've seen both sides and I've loved both. Okay,
and watching you guys at the football games, and I'm up there and I'm watching it. You guys are really kind of in sync, man. I mean, really, how do you guys do that when you're moving around so much and everybody looks like they're very coordinated and nobody seems to be out there doing their own thing, But how do you guys do that? What are you thinking about when you're out there?
So it does take a lot of practice. One thing that our team has learned that works best for us is we call out things while we dance. So when we're practicing, a few of us may call out a certain count that something's supposed to be on, or a certain arm, or a way a head's supposed to be. And just doing that at practice makes us better on the field, because then those call outs stick in your head, and then that's what you're thinking about.
Nobody calls out during the...
Sometimes on the field, if you're really close to us, you might hear someone scream something out. But
who's the quarterback on the team that calls out all those signals?
Honestly, it's kind of a mix of all of us. I think our team is very good at working together, and everybody kind of does a fair equal job of making sure that stuff is called out and that we're keeping each other in sync and just keeping each other motivated throughout the dance.
Okay. What kind of things are coming up here for you?
So a couple things that we have coming up. We have obviously our last home football game that we perform at. I'm pretty sure we are doing our second half of our comp pom dance, so we're really excited for that one.
Oh, I'll be looking forward to that.
And then in a couple of weeks, we have our first competition that we compete at. So we're just kind of preparing for that, cleaning our dances and getting them finished and ready to go on.
What are the competitions like?
Long days.
Yeah, very long.
We usually get there a few hours before we perform, all ready to go. And we stay by our whole program, middle school and JV, and we just prepare. We watch each other.
So you don't make friends with other dance teams, or you just kind of look at them like, try to intimidate them?
we be friendly. We're very friendly, but usually we're just kind of with Romeo supporting one another in that sense and just preparing to go on.
And what do you look forward to in these competitions, Kendall?
I would definitely have to say either going on and performing, that's definitely my favorite part, or the ending awards ceremony. I think it's just awesome being there with my team, and even if we don't come out with what we hope to, we tried our best and we all know it, so.
Okay. Quickly, a little bit about what you want to be when you grow up.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, so since about 7th grade-ish, I've really realized that I wanted to go into the medical field. I'm kind of thinking towards gynecology, something in that sense. That's always just struck me as something interesting. I'm looking at a few colleges right now, something local, something in Michigan. I mean, not local, but something in Michigan definitely, because I just want to be close to my family. I have younger siblings that I want to watch grow up.
So the medical field?
Yes, the medical field.
Any college in particular you're thinking about?
Well, right now, Grand Valley, I toured the campus and I loved it. It's beautiful. Michigan State, I mean, it's kind of just...
They got a good football team there, too.
Yeah, they do have a great football team.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a nice area, Grand Valley, and
yeah, it is.
Michigan State's a good school too. So, how about you, Kendall?
So, most of my family is all in the finance business area. So, I guess when I was in 9th grade, when Romeo really tried to push me to figure out what I was going into, I guess I kind of learned that I want to become kind of in the finance accounting area. Not really sure what yet, but that's kind of what I would like to do.
Are you good with numbers?
I like to say I am.
Especially when you put a dollar sign in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
And you definitely know percentages, 30% off, 40%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so finance, where do you think you might want to go for that?
I'm actually really not sure. I'm hoping to dance in college, and I've been to a lot of camps, and I'm hoping to go out of state, hopefully. So I'm actually really not sure where. But...
Okay. Well, now, I'm not going to ask you who your boyfriends are, but can you tell me who your favorite football player is? Or you just dance there and you don't even pay attention? Who's your favorite football player on the Romeo Bulldog football team?
Romeo Bulldog football team.
I know there's so many.
It's really hard to choose.
Yeah, they're all great guys. They're all.
Can you name a number?
I'm gonna point out Alex Kelly just at our away game. He made a 100-yard pick. He's number 6 on the field, so he's definitely a great player. And
he's been on the show. Yeah, he's a good guy. How about you? What do you think?
I don't know their numbers. Who should I call out?
I'm going to have to introduce you to him when we have the final home game, and then you can let me know then.
Yeah, I'll let you know then.
Ladies, thank you for joining us here in the Romeo Sports Recap, and good luck with the rest of the season. And I'll be looking at you guys when you're out there Friday, week from Friday, the last home game. And like I say, hopefully you have the same great performance I've been witnessing all year.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on the Romeo Sports Recap. We'll see you next time right here on the Mitt TV. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com.